The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sling'n Proffet podcast, Week 7 roundup of the NFL season. As always, I am your host, Andrew Daly, known as Sling, joined by my co-host, the Prophet. And listen, I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder this week. I'm flying high, okay? For once, I can say that I'm the champion of the the picks of the week. I had myself a nice little week. My pockets are a little heavier. I'm not one to brag though, Prophet. I'm gonna keep it cordial. I'm not. Listen, I don't want to rub it in anybody's face or anything like that. That I went, 2 for 2 on my picks and won almost 1,000 points to my total for the week. We'll talk about that later, though.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
We got a ton of action to talk about tonight. Now, as boring, I think, and as slow as the NFL season started off, I think it's safe to say that the past couple weeks here have been pretty exciting. Ton of scoring this past week. I threw together like a big 14 person touchdown scoring parlay, and it was like $1.50 bet to win like $25,000 or something like that. And I had 8 players in my 1 o'clock games, and I went 7 for 8 in my 1 o'clock games, Prophet. I was this close.
Excellent.
I was this close to getting it into the 4 o'clock games with a chance to win $25,000. But such is life, and they always go back and you're like, man, if I only had those 7 players in a 7-person parlay, I could have been pretty rich myself there. But such is life, and that's why it's called gambling, right?
Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah, man. Big week this week. What's going on in the world of the profiteer?
Oh, hell, we're enjoying some beautiful weather down here, man. We've been mid-70s to upper 70s, no humidity. Yeah, it's a great time to be in the Smoky Mountains.
What's up, Larry? Yeah, it's been hot up here too, man. I got my freaking air conditioner back on the last 3 days. It's been up in the 80s. I'm walking out. I got a week and a half left of football, and we're walking out. It feels like it's friggin' summer camp. I don't like it. This is supposed to be hoodie and sweatpants weather, and we're going out to practice, and it's dark and it's gray and it's miserable, and I don't like any rain, but I like it when the sky is gray and it's got a little chill in the air. That's my kind of weather. But
I refuse to put my air conditioner on at the same time I've got my heater on. So it's either one or the other, and it's getting cool at nighttime, which is beautiful for sleeping. Yeah, but I'm waking up in the cabin. The cabin's like 52 degrees in here, so I got to throw the fireplace on for a while or turn the heat on. But then in the afternoon, it does upstairs here. It does get to the point where I could turn the air on, but I choose to suffer a little bit.
Listen,
I'm into that kind of stuff.
And anytime the temperatures get over 80, that air conditioner is going on in my house anyway. But we got a loaded show. Whoops, can't start it. That's why. We got a lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot going on in the world of football, and not just NFL. We're going to talk about. We got a little college action going on tonight, so we'll dive right into it. As always, we're starting out with our weekly "What's Happening" segment, and we had a lot going on. Big news coming out yesterday, or was it today? Today? I must have woke up to it because I was reading about it this morning when I was getting ready for work.
There was talk of it. The talks all started yesterday, yes, but nobody could actually say anything because tampering rules and all. But the trade became official today.
Yeah, so we got DeAndre Hopkins going to the Chiefs, who are in much need of wide receiver help after losing Rashee Rice. And who else did they lose, Prophet?
Marquise Brown in the preseason. And
yeah, he still never came back from that collarbone, huh?
No, I think he's done for the year.
Really? Wow.
They lost Juju last week too.
Right. Schuster got hurt, so they still have the rookie Xavier Worthy, who didn't do a whole lot for him this past week, but he's kind of been like a little bit of a home run threat for him. more of a deep threat. But they needed help because other than Worthy and Kelsey, they didn't really have anybody. And from the running back room was slim, and it's still pretty slim. You got Kareem Hunt. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire that came back this week, but you know what you're going to get with him, and it's it's hit or miss there. Pacheco should be coming back at some point, right?
He should be back with the next couple of weeks, I'm thinking.
Yeah, he'll be back soon, I think, and not for nothing, they've been able to be they've been they've been getting it done, without the weapons that, so to speak, on the outside. And I think Hopkins is going to come in. He didn't have a good go of it in Tennessee. He only had 15 catches for 120 something yards and 1 touchdown or something in Tennessee. Just didn't have it going down there. And you go to a new team, and I think anybody who gets traded from a bad team to the Kansas City Chiefs, kind of like the way Belichick had it at the Patriots a few years ago, you're automatically going to come in and you're going to buy in and you're going to be excited because you know that now you're going from a cellar dweller to a Super Bowl contender every year. So it'll be exciting to see, how Hopkins comes in and really factors into this offense. I think he's going to come right in and step right in and be, a main target for Mahomes. What do you see from this trade? And do the rich get richer here or what?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, number one, you talk about Hopkins' numbers. Okay. We have to remember who was throwing the ball to him. Will Levi, I'm sorry, I'm just not sold on him. It's going to take a whole lot more. He's coming now to Kansas City where Patrick Mahomes is going to be throwing him the ball.
You see this?
Yeah.
I run out of water every week, and I don't have a cup big enough. So I said, screw it, I'm going to bring the whole pitcher down. So that's what I'm doing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
should just put a long straw in it. And
I should, right? That'd be funny.
But with him going to the Chiefs, it looks right now, anyhow, from what I'm reading, okay, is that this is just a stopgap. He may or may not be with them next year because he only signed a 2-year contract with Tennessee, played with them for a year and a half, and they didn't extend his contract out in this trade. But which is odd if they were looking to keep him, and at the cost for Kansas City, a 5th round conditional 4th round draft pick.
Yeah, could go to a 4th, but that's really nothing,
You get one of the elite receivers in the league, man. I mean, he's only not elite receiver thought of that way today because of, again, Will Levi's. I mean, this is going to be a big move for them. 17-0 in sight. I don't know, man. They got a tough schedule coming up still. And it's tough to win every game.
Yeah, I was a little facetious in saying that, but listen, nothing's out of the realm when you're talking about Andy Reid and Patty Mahomes. So it would be exciting to see how he progresses this year, or coming into Kansas City. If he's not on your lineup, or if he's not in your lineup, I don't want to steal your thunder there, Proffet, but you might want to think about picking him up. Talking about injuries, and another injury-filled week here in the NFL, and we were talking about it a little bit before the show. I'm trying to figure out what's the point of talking about this. Like, okay, people get injured, but then you peel back the layers a little bit, like an onion. You peel back the layers a little bit. Is it something bigger than just saying, oh, well, people are just going out and getting injured every week? I don't know if it's not, but one thing that came to my mind was a shortened preseason, a longer season. I don't know if this has anything to play into it, but these guys are dropping like flies, man. It just seems like every week there's 1 or 2 at least big names that are going down for a significant period of time. I was trying to find a rundown of like the biggest names that are injured, but I mean, this week it was Chris Godwin and you got Jaden Daniels, who's questionable. He hasn't practiced all week yet. He's dealing with some ribs. They said he can miss some time. Last week it was Hutchinson. Like you just got guys left and right. You can go down the laundry list and talk about the injury report. You had mentioned some stuff pre-show that I don't know. You go and talk about it. I don't know, and we'll discuss it. But what do you think that this could be stemming from?
Well, I think a lot of it is what you discussed. Okay. Again, we talked about this numerous shows early on. Guys not playing in the preseason, guys sitting out. Um, I always in fantasy, I always have a problem, a concern of drafting somebody that sat out the whole preseason because history says if you're not in there working out, you do have a better chance of getting injured. And it happened with Ayuk this week now. Okay. Ayuk's done for the
Yeah,
week.
but
You know,
what's wrong? Ayuk got hurt. What happened to him?
he blew out his ACL and MCL.
Oh, he's done.
He's done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'm talking about like Godwin. Like Godwin is out with a dislocated ankle. Now you can make a case for the not playing and the not training, and with the muscular injuries, like like a hamstring or maybe a groin or something like that. But you talk about an injury like Hutchinson last week where he breaks his leg. I don't think that plays into it. But I do see your point with the muscular injuries, so to speak. ACL too. That's another one where I think it's a freak thing. There's not really. I mean, you're not really out. I don't know if there's. I don't want to come off sounding dumb, but like, are there workouts out there where you're strengthening your ACL? Like, I don't know if that's a thing or if it's not. But
well, another thing that I'm thinking here too. Okay, and we have the segment coming up in a couple. These drugs these guys are doing, man. And the NFL, okay, yeah, you can argue the point that the NFL does random drug testing. Okay, that is such bull. They do that with people that they wanted, that they're trying to pinpoint. Okay, these guys should be getting tested. Number one, you got 6'5", 280-pound guys running 4.6 40s, man, that are just blowing people up that are a part of this reason. Plus the fact what these drugs are doing to their bodies. I mean, just from the wrestling standpoint, the guys that used to do steroids, the superstar Billy Grahams, the Hulk Hogan's and all, their joints are all screwed up, and that's with the old steroids. Is this stuff better? Is it making things happen?
It's
quicker?
tough to say because you don't know who's doing what. And
the only thing I do know is that I went and looked at it. Okay, 20 guys are on the IR this year so far that I found. 20 big name players have been on the IR from injuries this year, and that's not to mention the guys that were still on the IR that haven't come back from last year yet.
Yeah, I don't know. You touch on some touchy subjects. I'm not going to go down the road of saying that these guys are doing performance enhancing drugs and stuff like that because I just don't know enough about it. I mean, we know that some people are, and we'll talk about it in a couple, but that we'll save that one. Air Pepsi. Texas fans vandalized the field during the game. Now, did you see this when it was happening or no?
Yes.
Okay. Listen, so let's be clear. The call was a bogus call to begin with. It never should have been called defensive pass interference. Correct. I don't care. I don't know if people are gonna agree with me or not, but that was not defensive pass interference, and they called it defensive pass interference, and it was a huge moment in the game, and it took away a touchdown for Texas. Now, I've never seen nothing like what happens afterwards. Okay. The fans pelt the field with all kinds of bottles and Pepsi products. I'm sure there's some kind of libations that were on there too. It wasn't just water, but the fans pepper the field. And then the referees, after this long delay of cleaning the field up, which the cheerleaders and game day staff did a great job of getting that field cleaned up very quickly. They come over and the referees say, after discussion, there was no penalty and touchdown stands. I loved it. I absolutely loved the fact that they went back and reversed their call after talking about it because they screwed it up. I do not think that Texas vandalizing the field was the reason why they changed their mind. I think one or two referees or maybe more came in and said, dude, you blew that call. We need to fix it and make it right because they saw it. Somebody had a better view of it, and I think they got the call right. But there's no place for this, man. There's no place for this in college football. There's no place for this in any sport at any level. And I don't know what the sense of entitlement is here. I saw that the University of Texas got fined like $250,000. They should go back on camera and look at each one of those friggin' kids and put that $250,000 on their damn tuition check, because that's what mommy and daddy's money's paying for, their kids to go out and be absolute friggin' jackasses. I saw something about at Vanderbilt this week because that's who Texas is playing, but they got they put up the nets, and I don't know if it was a doctored image or not, but they put up like almost like foul ball nets in front of the Texas visitor section, so that way they couldn't throw things onto the field. But what do you make of this, Prophet? What did you think of it when it went down?
Well, I have a whole lot of feelings about this one, man. I mean, for starters, I thought I was
Listen,
watching.
I was on the referee's side, Jim. I wasn't coming at the referees. All right.
I thought I was watching an old episode of ECW, man, when they're throwing the chairs into the ring and shit at the wrestlers. It was
language.
It was ridiculous. Okay, and I think the referees made the wrong call by reversing this, even if it was the right call to reverse it, because we don't know for sure. I mean, I'm sure they didn't do it because they were throwing stuff out onto the field. Okay. But the precedent that sets for the rest of the country now, they're thinking, okay, you got a bad call. Let's pelt the field with bottles.
No. Yeah. No. I completely disagree with you. And you know what? And Jim, if you're still watching, we got a seasoned veteran, 30-year veteran official in this chat watching the show right now. Jim, I want you to comment. I want you to tell me if you guys blow a call and then there's a break in the action before the next play takes place, and there's a discussion that takes place, and another official sees that you blew the call. Is it in your duty as a referee to make the correction and make that change? I want to know, because I'm all for it. Yes, I see where you're saying the aesthetics of it, Prophet, and it looks bad. It says, all right, well, now if we don't get our way, we're going to pepper the field until they change the call. I don't think that's why they changed it, but you absolutely have to change it because that's the right thing to do. That's what you do as an official. Sometimes there's conferences and you come together and you talk about it and you make the call right. And I think that they did make the call right.
Yeah, but you confer after the play, okay? And then you change the call. You don't wait 20 minutes because you're getting pelted with freaking beer bottles.
The game was in a delay. They weren't coming on the field anyway. Jim says they have to discuss the call. It's important that the right call is made, no matter what the circumstances are. And I know that he's been in some tough circumstances where people were breathing down his neck. Stuff, this, that, the other. It's not easy to be an official, all right? And there's a reason why there's an official shortage in the country right now, the way that there is, all right? But I applaud these officials for doing the right thing under heavy scrutiny, obviously, and making the call right. Now, Kirby Smart was not happy, but you go back and watch that replay, man, that call should have never been made.
I agree with you, and I agree that the call being reversed. Okay, I just don't agree with the timing of it. I mean, like I said, there's a play on the field. You just confer. You come together, you confer, and you change the play.
Right. They started throwing. They started throwing bottles as soon as the penalty was announced. So right at that moment, the play goes into a suspension. But
I was a little surprised with the people of Texas. I mean, I held a much higher regard for the people of Texas than
you could keep your high regard to Larry's granddaughter, because she only attended the tailgate, so she wasn't a part of the bottle throwing.
That's a good thing. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Anyway, but yeah, it was definitely a chaotic scene. Matthew McConaughey put out a statement today because he's a big Texas guy. He says, "Hey, that ain't us. We're allowed to be loud. We're allowed to boo. We're allowed to cheer, but don't do this crap because that's not Texas football." All right. I'll tell you what else is in Texas football. Quinn Ewers is no longer Texas football, and that's another thing. We'll talk about maybe some other time, but apparently there's a rumor out there that he's shutting it down.
Well, what they are saying is that they are going to be reviewing all the video of the game,
I don't see how you can.
Anybody that they can find, and and say, okay, this was Joe Blow. They're rescinding all their rights until 2025 to attend any home athletics.
Yeah,
So,
it's going to be tough to do, but if they do it, good for them. I think that's a good thing. We talked about it last slide. Jameson Williams in trouble again for PEDs. I'm going to be honest, Prophet. You know more about this story than I do. I was really busy today getting ready for a big Friday night matchup. I wasn't able to study up on this one too much, so I'm going to pass it off to you and tell me a little bit what I got the gist now. He's suspended for PEDs, but talk to me about this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really wanted to put this story up just because of the timing of it, man. Again, it just makes me wonder what these guys are thinking. Okay, Detroit, they're on a roll. They're 5-1 now. They're playing like Super Bowl contenders again. And this guy, I mean, if you're going to take stuff that you don't know about, you got to check with somebody first. Okay, he didn't even deny it in all reality. Yeah, I'm being suspended. Like at least sometimes the guys come out and say, I didn't know that was in the stuff I was taking and all. But you cost your team 6 games last year, and now you're costing them 2 this year, right at a time when they really need you. I mean, not so much this week, but Green Bay's coming up next week. And not having Jameson Williams in the game is going to be a big part of this. I mean, come on. What are these guys thinking? I don't understand it. It's the entitlement that we talk about with these guys every week, it seems.
Yeah, I listen, I get where you're coming from. He's costing his team games and stuff like that, but here's a simple solution. Let them take the stuff. Baseball was better when we had steroids in it. That's for damn sure. Give me Mark McGwire. Give me Sammy Sosa. Give me Barry Bonds. I want to see 75 home runs. I want to see 24-inch pythons with the professional wrestlers and all this crap. I don't want to see AJ Styles out there doing flippity flops. I want to see huge monsters. Let these guys take all the PEDs they want. They know the risk. If they want to damage your body, go ahead. I'm all for it.
Okay. And you better have 16 quarterbacks on your team because the quarterbacks traditionally are not big guys.
Matter of fact, get rid of the roughing the passer penalty too while you're at it. This league is soft. Bring back John Lynch. Bring back Brian Dawkins. When knocking the guy's helmet off was cool. Bring it back, baby.
Yeah, back in the day.
Speaking of cool, let's talk about these two cool teams, man. Army, Navy. Both undefeated for the first time since World War II.
Army this point in the schedule, I'm guessing.
That's this point in the schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're talking about Army sitting here at 7-0, and Navy sitting here at 6-0. Okay, both ranked in the top 25. Awesome for college football. Okay, in a world of NIL and BS and bullcrap and transfer this and transfer portal that. These are two teams that you can get behind as a freaking American and root for both of these squads, Air Force included, but Air Force is never really that good. But listen, for these two teams to be playing as well as they are, nationally ranked, they're both already bowl eligible. I think it's good for the sport. It's good for the country, and I'm happy for them. And I think it's probably going to be one of the most highly anticipated Army-Navy games. Not that game needs any build-up, but for these teams both to be going in as strong programs, it's going to be something special. Now, Army's got Air Force coming up. They got North Texas, and then they got Notre Dame, UTSA. Navy's got a big one this week. They got Notre Dame this week. They go Rice, South Florida, Tulane, and East Carolina. Now, once you get past Notre Dame, they got some. You're talking 6-1, 7, 8, 9. You're talking possibly 10-1. 9-2 going into the Army-Navy game. And for Army, you got 1, 2, that's 8, 9, about the same, 9-1, 10-1. So I'm excited for these guys. Have you been able to catch any of them? Because it's not the same Army-Navy teams that we see. They're still running the same offense, but they're throwing the ball a lot more. They both got really good quarterbacks that could actually throw the ball.
No, I haven't seen any of their games so far this year, but yeah, the 7-0, 6-0, it's pretty impressive. It's real impressive to say the least. First time since World War II. The thing that looking at these two teams, okay, yeah, they both have Notre Dame left on their schedule, which, hey, if one of them, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame, if one of these two can knock them off, that would be great. I think Army stands to lose 2 games possibly with that North Texas game is going to be a tough one. And Navy, just the Notre Dame game, is left on their schedule, really.
Yeah, South Florida scares me a little bit for them, but they always play weird, tough teams. But
the big thing in looking at what's going on with these two programs is combined they're 11-2 over. I mean, they're scoring. Both of these teams are scoring like 40+ points a game, where last year they were scoring 14 points a game each. So what is going on there?
Well, they had Navy had a coaching change recently. I don't know. I forget. I think it was 2 years ago, though. So they're finally probably clicking on all cylinders there with their offense, and they've got a new system installed, which would explain a little bit more of the passing. But
they also, like you said, with the NIL, okay, they're not privy to all that, man. They got the same guys each year. The only thing that changes is freshmen become sophomores.
Right, which is why I said that it's easy to get behind these guys and to root for them. But it'll be exciting to see how they finish out their respective seasons. Listen, it's a tight battle between these two teams. It always is, and I'll tell you what's an even tighter battle is our freaking weekly pick'em pool sponsored by Advanced Sports. You're talking to me about we're tied at the top of the yearly leaderboard. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people within 1 game. We got another one within 2 games. We got another one within 3 games. We got another one within 4 games. This leaderboard is going nuts. All right. This past week we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now listen, I forgot to mention I was sick last week. I went 14-0 last week. All right. I don't think that's been done. But I digress because I'm nowhere to be found on this leaderboard. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 players this week went 11-4. First time we've had to go to our tiebreaker, which was the closest to the actual combined score. All right, so the combined score was 32. John Zagone comes in first, being 10 points off of that. So he must have had a guess of 42, I guess. But listen, we're close here. Keep getting in those games every week. Get those picks in. You want to get that free $100 gift card. You want to get that $300 package from Advanced Sports. But close, tight knit race here. Reading down the names real quick. You still got Radomir up top, but people are gaining on him. Talon comes in. He's tied for first. Big Will is in second, 1 game behind. Farmball, 1 game behind. Mighty Pound Cake, 1 game behind. Peebler, 1 game behind. New name that I've never seen, DF13. He's 2 games behind. Lana, Johnny H, and Laura still all in the mix here. Make sure you keep getting your picks in because you never know what could happen. Somebody has an off week and it could all change there.
Where's your name on that list there, Sling?
I already said my name's not on there, pal. All right, we don't need to harp on it. All right, it's not on there.
I was looking for it. I didn't say it.
Well, why would I want to win my own contest? I want the other people to have a chance. All right.
Yeah, bravo.
Here it is, baby, our weekly roundup segment where we talk about the previous week's games. We pick 5 or 6 good ones that we want to touch on that had some key points coming out of it. The fastest 16 minutes in sports. We've been keeping it pretty short, Prophet, but let's talk about it here.
Let's change that tonight.
Whatever. Let's go in. We got Detroit, Minnesota lives up to the hype going in. We knew that this was going to be a barn burner. Detroit Lions, high-powered offense. Vikings and behind Sam Darnold. They had a nice little feature on Sam Darnold on NFL pregame that I enjoyed. Both teams very similar here. You got the Lions here with 391 offensive yards. The Vikings with 383. Lions able to take this one by a score of 31-29. Jared Goff goes 22 of 25 for 280 and 2 touchdowns. You talk about efficient. This is coming off a couple weeks ago where he went 14 or 14 or 16 or 16 or wherever he went. Goff's playing some good football, and I know I don't think you were too high. I think I forget what you said, but did you not say he needed
to be a quarterback controversy?
Yeah, well,
there was. Did you see Hooker play 2 weeks ago? Man, he looked great.
No, Sam Darnold goes 22 of 27 for 259, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jones checking in, 14 rushes, 93 yards and a touchdown, and Jahmyr Gibbs with a huge game. Jahmyr Gibbs coming back with a vengeance, baby, coming in at 15 rushes for 15 rushes for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, racking up 31 fantasy points depending on what league you're in. Prophet, this is a fun game to watch. What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed this game, and as a matter of fact, I focused mostly on this game. It was, it was a fun game to watch. Actually, I was surprised with as much running as both teams were able to do, considering both run defenses. I had touched on it last week. Both run defenses, were pretty shoddy, but they actually ran the ball well against each other. It was a fun game to watch. I'm sorry, I don't like 10-7 games. I like the 35-31s, and this fell into that.
Well, it goes back to my baseball segment, my baseball comment where I said, bring back the roids. Everybody wants to see home runs, Prophet. Nobody wants to see pitchers duels, all right? They're kind of boring. So.
Oh, before we move on.
We already moved on, but go ahead.
Did you see, speaking of home runs, Ohtani's 50th home run ball this year sold at auction today?
Oh, it sold today?
$4.3 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that Ohtani did not offer that guy $4.3 million the night he caught it.
Nah, I'm sure.
He did a good job not trading it for an autographed bat or something like that, Anyway, McManus pays immediate dividends for the Packers. The kicker coming in and making his name and his presence felt. This game was kind of a back and forth. Wasn't, I don't know. I didn't love this game. Texans came out and played like crap. They less than 200 yards of total offense. You talked to me about C.J. Stroud, 10 of 21 for 86 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. His counterpart, Jordan Love, goes 24 of 33 for 220, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Now, Prophet, I know you're big on the turnovers, man. They're going to come back and haunt you in the postseason. Joe Mixon had himself a little day, going 25 for 115 and 2 tutties, and Josh Jacobs goes 12 for 76. Nothing really to write home about on the Green Bay Packers rush game, but they're able to get it done. Prophet, C.J. Stroud did not have his best game in this one. Talk to me about it.
No, he probably had his worst game of his career. He had. It's funny because I was talking to Big Will earlier today, and he had a Dak-like game last week, in fantasy, because the Big Will's got Stroud getting 3 points. Yeah, you just don't expect games like that out of quarterbacks like Stroud, and. You gotta, I guess, to a certain degree, you gotta credit, Green Bay's defense. Maybe too, they're feeling the loss of Nico Collins now. That's a big loss. Last week it didn't hurt them. They went into New England and spanked New England, but playing against a real team came back to bite them. Maybe now the headline in the story, is the Packers. I commend them. They said, screw everybody else. McManus got cleared of all his Hurricane Carter type bullcrap stuff, and the Packers needed a kicker. and they signed him. He comes in and he hits a 50-yarder at the end of the game with no time remaining to win the game. McManus is, when he was in Denver, he was one of the better kickers in the league. He didn't do bad in Jacksonville either. He's going to pay dividends for the Packers. Packers have been lost without a kicker for 2 years now since Cosby left.
Tough to kick in Lambeau. You got swirling winds, you got frigid temperatures. We'll see if he can handle those. I know he kicked in Denver, but I guess it's very similar. Whatever. Forget my last comment. We're moving on. Patty Mahomes does it again. Chiefs handle the Niners. Listen, I don't want to beat a dead horse, man, but the Niners they're injury riddled, man. How are we even sitting here talking about this game when they're so down on their luck? They don't have anybody. They don't have anybody left. And you're leaving it to Brock Purdy, who just can't handle it. He's got nobody to throw the ball to. He's just getting teed off on by other opposing defenses. Patty Mahomes doesn't have a great game. He goes 16-27 for 154, no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Purdy, counterpart, 17-31 for 212, 0 touchdowns and 3 picks. Is he showing his true colors? I don't know. Mason, 14 for 58. Kareem Hunt, 22 for 78, 2 touchdowns. Not a great yards per carry there, but he gets it done, getting himself into the end zone. Proffet, listen, I know, we talked about the Chiefs and them being undefeated and all, but I mean, this is kind of like celebrating a win against a team that's really down on their luck right now. Is there anything to really be celebrating here?
Well, sure. I mean, they went into San Fran. San Fran has Super Bowl revenge on their mind. San Fran started the game out fairly healthy, and Mahomes goes in there and just does it to him again. I touched on it last week. Mahomes is 4-0 against San Fran in his career. Now he's 5-0. I thought the Niners were going to win that game last week. And Mahomes goes in there and just, no. Did he have a great game? Absolutely not. Did he do enough to get the win? Yeah, and that's what he's been doing all season so far. Now,
that's what he's been doing his entire career. He's just getting it done, Dude wins games.
Yeah, but he hasn't been doing it convincingly this year so far. Anyhow, he hasn't had the weapons. Going back to, and this is just a preface to later on in the show, okay? But going back to the last segment with the Packers picking up McManus, okay? Moody gets hurt a couple of weeks ago. And who does San Fran go out and pick up? Narveson, the guy that the Packers cut 2 weeks ago because he can't kick a field goal. Well, this week he couldn't kick an extra point, and it cost us money.
Cost you money.
Well, it cost the Profiteers money, too, to follow me.
Cost the Profiteers money if they follow you, but didn't cost me money because I'm just money. Anyway. Wilson shines in his Steelers debut as the Steelers down the Jets. What a letdown for Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams comes out and he gets 9 targets, but he's got 3 receptions on 30 yards. Rumor has it he's already requested a trade. No, I'm just kidding, but I would not be surprised. All right. Aaron Rodgers, 24 of 39 for 276, 1 touchdown. 2 interceptions, and 1 interception was really big. I didn't see the other one. This was the Sunday night game, right?
Yeah.
I didn't stay up for much of this one. Good old Rusty Wilson coming in with a just over a 50% clip for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. Najee Harris had himself a nice little day, going 21 for 102, 1 touchdown. And we talked about it, Proffet. I just talked about, the Chiefs beating down a dead horse with the 49ers. Listen, I just don't think that this Jets team is ever going to come to life. All right. I'm a little shocked at how Russell came out and played. He played fine, but who's to say that Fields wouldn't have played the same exact way?
Oh, he wouldn't have. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Because, number one, he wouldn't have had the day that Wilson had throwing the ball, and he sure as hell would have ran for more than 3 yards.
Well, I agree with you on the rushing part. I don't agree with you necessarily on the passing part. But either way, Steelers win in convincing fashion. This has got to be this got to put to rest any consideration for the Jets, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty close. If they don't turn it around starting this week and pretty much win out, I mean, they don't have to win out to make the playoffs, but they got to win out to show something.
Yeah, show me something. They haven't shown anything. And Aaron Rodgers has been let's say, I don't know, just like plain pasta, man, with no butter or no sauce on it or nothing. He just like eating plain pasta. It's just boring and bland. And there's nothing to it, man. There's nothing to them. And you get excited when you hear you're going to have pasta for dinner, and you're all excited, and you get to the table and you look at it and it's like, what the hell's this? And that's kind of how like the Jets fans are feeling with Aaron Rodgers. You're excited, and then he shows up and he's like, what the hell's this? That's where we've been at with this season so far for the Jets. So we'll see if they can.
I mean, the Jets have only won 2 games, and they were against New England and Tennessee, I believe, man. And they're 2 bad teams. So the fact they even won 2 games, I don't know. I'm ready to put a fork in them and say they're done. But I do also think Wilson ain't going to do what, moving forward, what he did the other night either. Pittsburgh was fired up. Pittsburgh wanted this change. The fans wanted it. When he came out onto the field, they were going crazy for him. I mean, you're a 4-2 team with the other quarterback in, and you're going crazy for this guy to start. And he rode that adrenaline all night, but Pittsburgh's line also showed that Wilson's going to have problems later on in the season, because they're not that good. And that's why Fields was good for this team.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens as the year progresses with the 2 quarterbacks, if they do decide ever to go back to Fields, if Russell starts to struggle a little bit. Anyway, we got an air show at the pirate ship as the Ravens edge the Buccaneers. Listen, my boy's a contender, man. My Bucks are contenders. They're not pretenders. They are contenders.
Done.
Now, if they could play a little defense, and I know they lose Mr. Godwin and Mike Evans.
Done.
All right. Maybe you're right. Baker Mayfield, 31 of 45 for 370 and 3 touchdowns. Another nice fantasy day for Baker. I don't know if his fantasy value is going to go up after this game, losing all those receiving weapons. But Lamar Jackson counterpart goes 17 to 22 for 281 and 5 touchdowns. Had a nice day in the backfield, chucking the rock for the Ravens. Derrick Henry goes off again. Anybody who said he was done might have to reevaluate their knowledge, which that's both of us. So, let's take that statement back too.
Derrick Henry he was done. I just didn't think he was.
No, I don't think anybody.
I don't think anybody could have predicted that.
Yeah, this has been wild. This is Derrick Henry back from Alabama that we've been seeing this year. So, fun game to watch. We talk about points. This one had 72 of them. Yeah, Baker just doesn't get it done, and they lose Chris Godwin here at the end of the game. It was weird. It was like Aikman foreshadowed it. They're trying to throw the ball down 10 with 20 seconds left or whatever, and Aikman says something along the lines of, when you got at some point you got to consider your guy's health or safety or something and getting out of here. And no more than 2 plays later, Godwin gets hurt. So unfortunate turn of events from the Buccaneers. You say they're done. You might be right. They need some help at the receiver position for sure. What'd you take away from this one?
Well, I mean, I say they're done. They're not done yet. We have to wait and see what happens, before the trade deadline and all. Look, losing Mike Evans for 3 to 4 weeks and losing Chris Godwin for the rest of the season, looking at their depth, man, they do not have replacements for these guys. I mean, not that anybody does, but they don't even have like good quality receivers behind them. I think Trey Palmer is probably like the best they have, moving forward here. And Baker needs somebody to throw to. He can throw the ball, but he's got to have somebody to throw to. Now, as far as this game, I mean, this game was wonderful to watch, man. Yeah, Tampa Bay comes out fired up. They take the early lead. Baltimore fights back and gets a big lead on them, and then Tampa Bay, fights back in the fourth quarter. Everything you want in a football game. It was a great game, and it was pretty mistake free for the most part.
Yeah, a lot of points scored. Definitely high. I told you this whole weekend it seemed like there was a lot of points scored, and the guys who were supposed to score were scoring. That way, that's why I think Vegas might have lost a lot of money in the touchdown parlay or touchdown picks. But that'll wrap up our weekly roundup segment. It was like I said, full week, a lot of scoring, a lot of fun games, and then we got some good ones coming up to talk about here. I don't know, what side of the fence you're on a couple of these, Prophet, but we'll talk about our games of the week coming up, and we're going to roll right into it. And we're going to start off with our first game of the week and right back to those Buccaneers. We got a big NFC South matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Falcons come in at 2.5-point favorites in this game in Tampa Bay. All right. Over under set at 46, which I think will sail. Quite frankly, I think even without a receiving core, Baker Mayfield will find a way to get balls into the end zone here. And the Falcons are no slouch themselves. They come in with a 4-3 record. They're 3-0 in the South already. The Bucs are coming in 4-3 as well. I don't love Kirk Cousins. I don't love Kirk Cousins this year. I don't know if it's just a me thing. He's not, he's got 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Yeah, I always look at that stuff, but Kirk Cousins just isn't doing it for me. That being said, the Buccaneers are dealing with a lot of injuries to their offensive weapons. I'm going to go with the Falcons in this one. Should be a close game, but I think the Falcons are going to pull it out. And then Buccaneers are going to they're going to have to take a couple weeks to kind of regroup and reestablish themselves and find a new identity there in their receiving core. What do you got?
Yeah, this is a tough game to gauge, with the injuries. What are we actually going to see out of Tampa Bay this week? And the timing of it couldn't be worse, considering that this game is for sole possession of first place in the NFC South. I actually have Atlanta winning this one in a low-scoring affair. I got them winning 16-13.
Low. That just sounds like a boring game, right?
Well, that's what I'm anticipating happening in this one.
All right. Well, you heard it there. You got the Falcons 16-14 or 16-13? 16-13 in that one. We'll see what happens. Next game brings us to Seattle, the 12th man. Tough place to play. Tough place to win. Josh Allen bringing his troops in and bringing Amari Cooper in. Did Cooper do anything this week?
He had a touchdown. And
did he?
Yeah, I think he had like 60 yards or so.
Listen, the thing that stands out to me, okay, you know what stands out to me? Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception yet.
Oh, that's good.
He's got 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's going into a Seattle Seahawks team that's 4-3. The Bills are coming in at 5-2. He's got another extra week to click with his receiver. I got the Bills. Bills come in 3-point favorites. Over under set at 47. I got the Bills pretty handily in this one. Geno Smith just hasn't been. It's weird to say this, but Geno Smith hasn't been the Geno Smith of old this year. So, who do you got in this one, Prophet?
Well, a little footnote. I talked about Cooper last week, having a problem dropping passes, and he did drop his first pass from Allen in the first series. That was pretty funny. I started laughing to myself. And
he, jitters with new quarterback, new team. That's all.
Yeah, I know his hands were shaking, but hey, Josh Allen played these guys 4 years ago and threw for 415. 3 touchdowns, and he had a rushing touchdown. I don't think this is going to be enough this week. Seattle needs this game. Even though I do believe, what's going to happen in the next game is going to happen, Seattle needs this game to open up a little bit of a lead in that division. And these are the kind of games Buffalo loses. I got Seattle winning this one 37-30.
Ooh, that would be an upset to a lot of people, I think. But hey, listen, who won last week? The picks? Me?
What picks?
Our picks. These games of the week picks.
Nah, you didn't do too well.
Well,
let's move on.
Yeah. Well, what about who won last week's pick'em segment, or not pick'em segment, but plays of the week? Anyway, we're moving on. Larry's boys, the Chicago Bears, coming in, taking on those Washington Commanders. Be interesting to see if Daniels plays, because if Daniels plays, I don't think they got a snowball's chance, but we'll see. Bears coming in at 4-2. Caleb Williams, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I'm just not, he had a great game last
against
week.
Jacksonville.
Right. So it'll be tough to see how he does against the Commanders, going into a hostile environment down there in the DMV, Landover, Maryland. But Bears coming in 1.5-point favorites. Over under set at 43.5. This one's weird for me. If Jaden Daniels plays, I got the Commanders here. If he doesn't play, then I got the Bears. And yes, Larry says 10, go Bears 10-7. I thought he was predicting the score, but
so did I at first. But
he's been saying the Bears are going 10-7 all year. Larry, I got the Bears winning this one 10-7. We'll see. I got the Commanders. I just want to believe in the Commanders because I want somebody else to win the NFC East. I'm going Commanders here. Who do you got, Prophet?
Yeah, this is a funny game. Sunday, the line on this game opened up at Washington as a 1.5 favorite, and yesterday Chicago was up to 2.5. Now they're down to 1.5. So the money is going all over the place in this game. If Daniels plays, I like Washington in this game. If Daniels doesn't play, I still like Washington, I guess. Chicago hasn't won on the road yet this year. They're 0-2. Washington hasn't lost at home yet. They're 3-0. I have Washington winning this one 27-17 with the 1 versus 2. Okay, which is a little bit of information here for everybody. Since 1998, there have been 7 1-2 quarterbacks drafted in the same year. 3 of them have played in the same season that they were drafted. The number 1 lost 2 of the games, 2 to number 2. The only guy that won, surprisingly enough, against the number 2 quarterback drafted was last year, Bryce Young.
Wow.
Carolina beat Houston.
You're full of knowledge, man. I guess that's why they call you the prophet, but that's what you're here for. All right.
You make it funny. I make it smart.
To spring. Why don't we talk about the end when we see who's got more points than who else? And we'll talk about smart versus funny, okay? We're moving on. Cowboys, big problems. Taking on the 49ers, more big problems. Cowboys coming into this one as 4.5-point underdogs. Now, I don't know if I buy into that, Prophet, with everything that the Niners are dealing with. But the Cowboys, Jerry Jones has got to go, man. He's absolutely burying this team and driving this team into the ground. Dak is just awful this year. 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. The run game is nowhere to speak of. On the counterpart, the Niners are dealing with all kinds of injuries all over the place. McCaffrey may never play again. Ayuk's out. Who else? Debo. Is Debo going to play?
Debo's questionable. I think he's still in the hospital.
Yeah.
He was put in the hospital with pneumonia.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how to take this game, but listen, I'm going with the Niners here. I just think that Dallas has got a lot. They got to blow it up from the inside, man, and and rebuild this thing because they're just not having a good year this year. So I got the Niners winning this one. Would you agree or would you disagree?
Well, I mean, this game is brutal. It's brutal to handicap. Dallas, I said 2 weeks ago before they went on their bye, I was fading them for the rest of the year. Now they come up against a San Fran team that is probably as decimated, if not more so, than they are. And Dak coming off the bye week is 5-2 straight up. So I'm leaning that way simply because I don't know whether Purdy's going to have anybody to throw the ball to. I mean, Debo's questionable. Jennings is questionable. Kittle is questionable. The receivers that were on that field Sunday afternoon in the second half against Kansas City, they can't play ball. Ricky Pearsall, Scott Cowens, or whatever his name was. I mean,
they said that the Niners' healthiest receiver just got shot a month ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, I'm going Dallas's defense is bad enough that San Fran's going to score on them, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop Dallas. I'm going with the Cowboys. I hate to say this, but 34-24.
Tough to get those words out of your mouth. I know you're not high on the Cowboys, but hey, we gotta keep it real here on the Sling'n Proffet podcast. We can't play favorites.
Nope, absolutely not.
Speaking of not playing favorites, those Philadelphia Eagles. That brings us to the Jug Handle Inn Game of the Week. Jug Handle Inn, located in Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Delicious, juicy, crispy chicken wings. Just want to sink my teeth into them. Jug Handle Inn Game of the Week pits the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals come into this game as 2.5-point favorites. Over under set at 47.5. Now, excuse me. Eagles played the Giants this past week. They went in. Saquon laid a shellacking on his former team to the tune of almost rushing for his new career high. I think that was definitely a high emotional game for them. Sirianni could be coaching for his job the rest of the way out. We'll see how that goes. But listen, the Bengals, I mean, as many weapons as they have, they got a 3-4 record. I just don't know what's going on with Cincinnati right now. But I just don't think that I can't bring myself to pick the Eagles, and I don't know. I don't know if I ever will. But I legitimately think that the Bengals are going to win this game. I'm going Bengals 27, Eagles 17.
Wow. I can see it. I feel your pain there, Sling. Picking the Eagles to win is tough, but sometimes you got to do it. You got to remember what I taught you: your head, not your heart. Okay. But with that being said, don't let that defensive performance last week fool anybody. Okay, they were going against a bad Giants offense, and this week they get to play a real offense. Cincinnati is going to show them what it's like in the real world. Cincinnati's going to win this game 31-24.
31-24 Cincinnati. I got 27-17 Cincinnati. That will wrap up your Game of the Week segment. That'll wrap up your Jug Handle In Game of the Week.
Got wings.
Jug Handle In. Got wings. Make sure you go there and get yourself some. Excuse me. Man, I'm drinking too much water, I guess. maybe it's
Your
not a good
body's
thing.
you're
My
throwing your
body's
body out of whack.
and my body's saying, "What is this? It's not soda or Coors Light." Anyway, how'd you do last week with your fantasy headquarters? I haven't been
Yeah,
following.
not so much last week. Last week I think it was 4 and 5 actually, with good plays, to the bad plays. Hey, look, guys, I'm a statistic man, and 95% of my plays are based on statistics, and sometimes statistics don't come through. I mean, who would have expected, a 17-13 game in Arizona, or 17-15 game in Arizona Monday night, with San Diego not doing anything? Yeah, not me, but anyhow. So that's where we're at this week, huh? Right now, we're at the fantasy. Okay.
Yeah, it comes after the games of the week. This is your segment, Prophet. You're going to give
Yeah.
us the guys that you want to start, sit, and pick up. Remember?
Okay. And also, guys, remember, okay, I can sit here and give you no brainers, and I'm not going to do that, because that's not what I'm about. I'm not about giving you easy picks here. They come with the next segment. All right. My start, the guys to start this week, okay, at quarterback. Here we go. Right off the bat. Jameis Winston. Okay. If you got him in your line, if you got him on your team, get him in your lineup this week, going against the terrible Baltimore pass defense. Okay. Running back, J.K. Dobbins. He's on your team. Make sure he's in your lineup. The Saints have given up like 12 rushing touchdowns already this year, and Dobbins is going to keep it going. And at wide receiver, any Green Bay receiver this week. You got a receiver from Green Bay, get him in your lineup. Going against Jacksonville, I mean, hell, uh, Caleb, Caleb threw what, 5 touchdowns 2 weeks ago against that defense. Yeah,
Yeah, 4. I thought he
Jordan,
through 4, but 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Jordan Love's going to light this team up this week. Green Bay receivers, whoever it is, Dobbs, Wicks, Watson, Reed, get them in your lineup. Okay. Now to the sit segment. Kyler Murray going up against Miami. There's a good chance Tua is going to be back for this game, which is going to fill seats, going to put excitement back in Miami. Miami's defense has allowed 3 touchdowns through the air this year. You got Kyler Murray on your team, keep him on your bench. And his counterpart, Marvin Harrison at wide receiver, same
Yeah,
deal.
tell me about that.
Kyler can't throw him, Marvin can't catch them. And Alexander Madison is the running back to sit. Going up against Kansas City. Kansas City's their run defense is stifling. They had a couple of moments Sunday against San Fran where Mason had a couple of nice runs, but other than that, Mason did nothing that day. So you got Alexander Madison. Don't even think about it. Put him on your bench. And pickups. Surprisingly, Matthew Stafford is sitting out there on only 19% of teams. Going against Minnesota tomorrow night, if you need a quarterback, and it's only if one of your guys went down this past week or you don't like your matchup, going against Minnesota's poorest pass defense, Cooper Kupp may be back if he's not traded. Go take Matthew Stafford tomorrow night. Stafford loves the limelight. At
I don't
running
know
back,
what leagues you're looking at where Stafford's only on 19%. We gotta fact check that one, Prophet.
ESPN.
That's low.
ESPN, 19% rostered.
Okay.
And running back, Jaleel McLaughlin. Okay. Denver's going up against Carolina, man. If anybody watched any of the Carolina game last week, they
Yeah.
cannot stop the run. Javonte Williams is probably going to have the big game, but McLaughlin's going to be in there in mop up time, plus throughout the course of the game. and he could have a huge game himself. And he's only rostered on 25% of the teams. And my wide receiver is Jerry Judy. The same way I think Winston could have. Winston's a bomb thrower. We know that. I mean, he loves to throw the ball downfield. Yeah, they've got Judy and they got Elijah Moore there. Well, Judy is the guy I'm picking. 50% rostered. If you need a receiver this week, don't be afraid to pick up Jerry Judy going against Baltimore. And that's it for the Profit headquarters. I do have one Ask the Profit. Okay, and before I get into that, I'm going to say, I guess Detroit Gibby was happy. You know, he reached out to me last week.
Yeah.
This one comes from Willie and Philly. And if I'm not mistaken, I had Willie and Philly on the show already once this year. But he says to me, I have Jamar Chase on my team, but I think the Birds are going to spank Cincinnati this week. What should I do? Well, Willie, first thing you need to do is you need to stop being a freaking homer. Okay. You can like the Birds, but even if they beat them 31-14, there's a good possibility that Jamar Chase scores a touchdown against that porous defense that they have out there. So you're asking me what to do. I'm saying put Jamar Chase in your lineup, keep him there for the rest of the year unless he gets hurt.
Well, thank you, Willie and Philly, for checking in. Not to be confused with Willie for president.
No, he's done. I told you that last week.
Last week was a blur. Man. Anyway. Yeah.
Profit this week.
All right. Well, we're moving on. We thank you for letting us into your headquarters and giving us foresight into the future. Okay. And now if you'll let me take over the next segment so the people can win some some credits here.
Have at it, your shining moment.
And let me talk a little bit here about plays of the week, because if you look at it, wow, look at all that green there. And if I only made 3 picks, but listen, I play smart, Profit. If I don't love 3 games, I'm not playing 3 games. I love 2. I loved 2 there, and I hit them, and I hit them big. All right. I told you Toledo was going to cover, and they did. Barely, but they did. And then my anytime touchdown scorer, Jefferson, Barkley, and Bijan. Man, I wish I put a little bit more on that. But hindsight's 20/20. But I'll take the 100% day. Now, not taking anything away from you. You had yourself a nice little day too. 2 for 3. 2 for 3 there. But if we look at this number here on the right, that big 1,700. Compared to that, and that puts me in the lead, and I don't know if that's ever happened, Profit, so I'm excited about it. That puts me in the lead. Thank you, Larry. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. No, stop. You're too much. Anyway, yeah, so you hit the over on the Detroit Minnesota game. You barely missed the over on the Kansas City San Fran game. We touched on that a little while back.
Thanks, Narvison.
Yeah, that's a whole blame the kicker situation there. And then you hit the over in the friggin' first quarter of the Baltimore-Tampa Bay game. That went over pretty easy. So, Profit, not for nothing, 5 picks on that board. We hit 4 of them. That's a pretty nice day for anybody who is riding our coattails and listening. So we're moving on to our plays for this week. And, Larry, you'll like this one. My college football play for the week comes in at a Friday night game. I got those Boise State Broncos, baby, -3 over UNLV. All right. I would appreciate an extra trophy. If you had one, I can hang it up right back here, right where that fantasy football trophy is going to be at the end of the year too. Boise State. Net -3 over UNLV, 150 to win 277. UNLV's got a nice little story going on, but Boise State is just running through people. They got if Genty doesn't win the friggin' Heisman, it's rigged. That nobody can stop this running back. So I got Boise State taking it to UNLV on Friday night. My touchdown parlay for the week, Kyron Williams. I think Sam Laporta is going to get into the end zone this week. He's due. Okay, he's due for some touchdowns. All right, and just like we were talking about in the previous one, Jamar Chase. If he's on your team, get him in your lineup. Listen, if you can play these touchdown parlays, get him in there. Kyron Williams, Sam Laporta, Jamar Chase, three-player parlay, 100 will get you back a fat 787 on that one, baby. So you could take that one. You could take that one to the bank. So that's what I got going on here.
You got to get that one in early, guys. Kyron Williams is tomorrow night's game.
Correct. There's a. I don't like to do it, but there's a Thursday night play on there. But talk to us about yours. You looks like you got Philadelphia.
Well, before I do, I want to congratulate the Profiteers, the email Profiteers. Okay, Monday night I put out Baltimore. Sunday, unfortunately, I put out San Fran, and last Thursday night I put out anytime touchdown scorer for the Denver defense at +4-1, which that hit when I had a nice 2-1 week for the emails also. This week, you might notice, guys, this is the second week in a row now that I've gone strictly with totals. And that's because, when the picks aren't in the pattern, you got to make adjustments. And that's what I'm doing. So my first game, I'm going with the over in the Philadelphia game. They're going to have beautiful weather there. Two bad defenses. And a scenario that I like to play is when two good offenses play an under game the week before, which the Eagles and Cincinnati both did. I like going with the over the following week. I'm playing 220 to bring back 420 on that one. My second pick is let me see. Okay, make sure here. My second pick falls under my 420 system, and I'm taking the under 46. 46 points. I understand that they put up almost 100 3 weeks ago, but 46 points and Tampa Bay has no offense. This game is going nowhere near 46. I'm laying 165 to bring back 315 on the under, and I don't like playing unders, but this one just looks too easy. And my final game is the Cowboys over 47. Dallas is. I talked about them being 5-2 coming off the bye week. Dak's 6-1 with the overs coming off the bye week, and like I said, Dallas's defense is bad enough that San Fran's going to score on them, and I think Dallas is going to have to put up a lot of points in this one to get there. So I'm going with 110 on that to bring back 210. That's my 3 picks, guys. Email me. If I have something going, I'll send it out to you. I have a consistent 12, 13 people to email me each week. And they've been doing nothing but bringing home bacon, man. So, yeah.
I do enjoy bacon. It's so damn expensive, though. Hopefully, that changes in a couple weeks, that expensive bacon. Larry says, the Oregon Ducks at number 1. Didn't see that coming. I don't know if I saw that coming either. But this whole college football season has been such a friggin' whirlwind. And I'll tell you what, the 12-team playoff is going to be exciting because anybody can beat anybody this year. It's Georgia's going to be tough. Ohio State's tough. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, man.
We talked about it. We talked about it last season when they were talking about going to the 12 teams, from the 8. Okay, there's always questions. We're have the same problem this year too, and teams are going to feel like they were left out.
Yeah, well, you got to take that into consideration for sure. One team that didn't do that was Florida State because they are not playing so well. So
yeah, I said earlier in the year, didn't I? They may not make the bowl, and they're not going to now. They're done.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell there, and time will tell how much longer that head coach has got down there in Tallahassee. But listen, hey, that'll wrap up another weekly episode of the Sling'n Proffet. That was a good one, Prophet. It had a lot of fun. Easy to talk about some of those segments, man. But join us. Enjoy this week of football. Enjoy, whatever you're doing in your lives. And make sure that you join us back here live next Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. We appreciate you guys, as always. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
We love you all.